and welcome to Political Beatdown. All right, here with my co-host, Ben Meiselas. I, of course, Michael Cohen. Listen, I am doing the intro today because today is a very special day, Brigaders. Thanks to you, thanks to so many of the other followers of Midas Touch Network. The Midas Touch Network, 3 million subscribers. And so on behalf of Political Beatdown, again, my co-host Ben, who has just worked tirelessly to bring all of these independent programs to you that not filled with innuendo, but facts. Thank you. He thanks you. I thank you. This is the community, 3 million strong now. And with that, I'm so proud of you, Ben. I'm so proud of Brett and even Jordy. I'm even proud of Jordy. I mean, so it says a lot. It says a lot. So congratulations.
Well,
really,
thank you,
it's
Michael
a
Cohen.
milestone. It's a milestone.
Well, Michael, it's with hosts like you and others here at the network with experience who know what they're talking about, who are not speculating, but who are bringing facts every day. And that's how we built this fact-based, data-driven, unapologetically pro-democracy network. And occasionally, I will do it with a dog leash on my hand while I am live. As many of our brigaders know, I'm transitioning to a new office right now from where I previously recorded. So there's a lot of construction taking place. We've got a lot of dog barking taking place. But at the end of the day, that's what you get here sometimes. Raw authenticity. And we're bringing the facts. So Michael Cohen, I want to thank you. I want to thank the Beatdown community. I want to thank all the Midas Mighty out there who share this network, who are part of this community, who give us the great ideas. And so thank you very, very much. All right, let's get into some of the stories of the day. Of course, what everyone's talking about is Donald Trump making a disgraceful PR stunt at the Arlington National Cemetery, where Trump campaign staff had a physical altercation with Arlington Cemetery staff, physically pushing the staff member away when the Arlington Cemetery staff member was enforcing just very basic rules about this cemetery, a national shrine, especially inside Section 60 at the wreath laying, where the wreath laying ceremony was taking place. Donald Trump was shooting a political ad right there. Michael.
Yeah. So one of the things that people need to understand also, well, two things. I want to just go back to your 3 million. Let's make it 4. Let's get to 4 in record time, and then from 4 to 5. And I'm going to tell you the reason why, because at the end of the day, it's this community and communities similar to Midas Touch Network that's going to end up changing the outcome of this election. 3 million people easily changes the outcome. And so let's get it to 10 million. Right? Let's get bigger than ABC. All right. One of the things that I want to also explain to people that I had heard through the grapevine, first and foremost, as you know, or you should know, this Section 60, that's where newly buried veterans, those that have lost their lives in service of this country, are being laid to rest. And they have protocol. The protocol doesn't allow, and the Trump team was told that you cannot take photos or you cannot do video in Section 60 for commercial or for political purpose. Now, do you think that the Trump people give a shit? Do we not remember, like, for example, when Corey Lewandowski manhandled that female journalist going back in 2015, 2016? But what I had heard is the person at the Arlington Cemetery site that got pushed aside, who filed a report, by the way, there's a police report on this matter, happened to have been a female. And I got to tell you something, this complete and total disrespect for women by this entire group of sexist misogynists, this bullshit has to stop. And you know what? The brigade, We're going to do it. I mean, here, they routinely host. It turns out it says it. It says it's participants in the August 26th ceremony and the subsequent Section 60 visit were made aware of federal laws, Army regulations, and DOD policies which clearly prohibit political activities on cemetery grounds. Nobody should ever even be thinking about doing political activity on cemetery grounds, least of all Arlington National Cemetery. It is a place that should be worshipped, not to be used as a political prop. Disgusting.
Let me show you what Donald Trump's running mate, J.D. Vance, is saying. He gave a speech yesterday where he also confirmed that an altercation took place, but he says it's not a big deal. Why are people blowing this up out of proportion? I'm going to show you two clips. Let's just show the first one.
Well, I think, first of all, the altercation at Arlington Cemetery is the media creating a story where I really don't think that there is one. There is verifiable evidence. There is verifiable evidence that the campaign was allowed to have a photographer there. There's verifiable, they were invited to have a photographer there. There's verifiable evidence that the families of these poor people who had their loved ones die 3 years ago at Abbey Road, they had, Abbey Gate, those 13 Americans, a lot of them were there with the president. They invited him to be there and to support them. That's not an insult to the memories of their loved ones. They wanted Donald Trump there, and thank God that we have a president who stands with our veterans instead of one who runs away from them. Now
show you another clip of J.D. Vance right here. Let's play the other clip if we have it, Jeremy.
Now it is amazing to me that you have apparently somebody at Arlington Cemetery, some staff member, had a little disagreement with somebody, and the media has turned this into a national news story. You know what I think our veterans care a lot more about? That Kamala Harris's VP nominee lied about his military service. I think that our veterans care a lot more about that.
Now, and again, he's going with the stolen valor thing against Governor Walz, who served for 24 years, didn't lie about his military.
Verified. It's not as if like Trump is making a claim that he served, which of course would be a lie. This is verified. 24 years.
You know, Donald Trump's former chief of staff, John Kelly, said that he heard Donald Trump call veterans suckers and losers and consistently mock our veterans and our military. Then Donald Trump calls John Kelly a stupid idiot. So let me get this straight. Donald Trump calling a four-star general who was his chief of staff a stupid idiot. Those are the words that Donald Trump used, stupid idiot, for calling Donald Trump out for calling veterans suckers and losers. And Donald Trump said he didn't. He's a stupid idiot. I think that I'm going to go trust John.
Before you go on, please, the disrespect to John McCain, right? And those who don't know the John McCain story, he was a prisoner of war, shot down, who was beaten on a daily basis, but because his father was an admiral, was given an opportunity to leave. Imagine that. He could have at any moment snapped his finger and they would have released him, put him on a plane and sent him back to America. But he said no. He said, I'm not leaving unless every single one of my men leave with me, which they were not prepared to do. And so he remained. That, my friends, is honor, and that's valor. And when Trump turned around and disparaged him and turned around and said that he's not a war hero, I don't like people who get captured. Despicable. Sorry, Ben.
No, don't be, one of the things that people are surprised to hear when I talk about it is it was Donald Trump who ordered that the 5,000 Taliban terrorists be released, which was a huge success for Vladimir Putin. It's exactly what Putin wanted. And Trump released these 5,000 Taliban prisoners, went behind the back of the existing Afghan government, didn't even include them in the talks. Donald Trump invited the Taliban to Camp David. He invited them on 9/11, by the way, to come to Camp David. But then there were subsequent negotiations that took place between Pompeo and the Taliban. They released the 5,000 Taliban leaders. And then what did the 5,000 at one time? They all joined forces and they took over Afghanistan. That's what happened. Then Donald Trump said that he was going to get the troops out. Donald Trump did not. Instead, he used that as a poison pill for the next administration, and President Biden had to get the troops out. It is a very tragic situation, and words don't do it justice, what happened to the 13 soldiers who lost their lives. By the way, not all of the soldiers who lost their lives' family wanted that photo op to happen. In fact, there was a lot of families who said that they didn't want, they didn't want photographs. There were other grave sites there that were in the campaign photos, and those family members did not want grave sites to be used for campaign videos and propaganda. But we have to have adult, fact-based, data-based conversations about the situation in Afghanistan. Like, you have to have the conversations. Like, if we wanted to, when we talked about inflation, we have to talk about policies that create inflation. And you can't just be the arsonist and then blame the fire department for trying to put out the fire that you create. When you add $8 trillion to our deficit, I mean, you had $8 trillion in debt, rather, the most ever, like Donald Trump did, and print money so recklessly and give tax cuts to billionaires that you can't pay for, and then mishandle COVID. And then you don't do things like shore up the supply lines the way President Biden has done with the CHIPS Act. Donald Trump didn't do any of that. He didn't do infrastructure. So the supply lines were all screwed up. And then he started trade wars against China, which are inflationary. And then inflation happens. Then the fire department comes in with President Biden to basically put out the fire. And then the corporate media wants to both sides it and not tell the story that I just did, which is 100% fact-based, economic-based, data-driven. When Donald Trump goes, drill, baby, drill, drill, baby, drill, drill, baby, drill, there's more domestic drilling now than when Donald Trump was in office. We are energy independent right now for the first time in American history. We're producing more oil now than when Trump was in office. And we're focused on climate change as well. While doing this drilling, we've brought down gas prices. Like, well, gas prices were higher, are higher now than they were when Trump left office. There was a mass casualty COVID event that Donald Trump brought us into where people weren't driving their cars. Like, we have to, again, have fact-based, data-based conversations. One of the things I'm looking forward to watching in a little bit, Cohen, is the speech that Vice President Kamala Harris is going to be giving tonight in Georgia, and her interview with Dana Bash. I've seen some of the clips. We're going to show some of the clips on this show. I was a little bit surprised, to be honest with you, that she decided to do the interview with CNN and Dana Bash the way CNN has been handling a lot of their coverage. But, from the clips that I've seen, she's done she's done an incredible job when Dana Bash was trying to both sides the issue. So I think part of it was that Vice President Kamala Harris wanted to also motivate people to show, look, I know CNN's going to, do this interview a certain way, but I digress there for a moment. When we're talking about what Trump is doing at the 3-year anniversary of the event in Afghanistan where those 13 soldiers lost life, it's important that we talk about, I think, the historical context, though, of what took place as well. That's why I brought that up.
Yeah, I mean, look, let me be clear about something here. I think it's extremely important that we stay on the topic of the Afghanistan withdrawal. And Ben accurately points out that deal to extricate from Afghanistan, which was like a 4-decade war, was done by Trump under the Trump administration, that the Biden administration was obligated to do it. I also want to start pointing out some of the things that Shady Vance had said in that interview, blaming it on the media. What does the media have to do with the fact that Trump campaign people manhandled a woman that works at Arlington National Cemetery because she directed them to the fact that you are not allowed, I'm going to read it for you again. Participants in the August 26th ceremony and the subsequent Section 60 visit were made aware of federal laws, Army regulations, and DOD policies, none of which Trump himself or his campaign give a shit about, which clearly prohibit political activities on cemetery grounds. All right. An ANC, Arlington National Cemetery employee who attempted to ensure adherence to these rules was abruptly pushed aside. This is wrong. This is wrong. And of course, what do? They blame it. They blame it on the media. It's never their fault. Have you ever noticed? Let's take that down. Jeremy. Have you ever noticed that Donald Trump never apologizes for any mistake? In fact, you can't name a single time that he apologized for anything. It's not only does he ascribe to that horse shit, but so do the people that are around him. They believe, like Donald, that he's above the law, that he can do whatever he wants. Rules, regulations, fuck that. It doesn't count. We don't ascribe to any of that unless it benefits us. And in here, they wanted to get photos, and they were going to use it, which they did, for campaign and political purpose, in violation of law, in violations of rules and regulations. And then I like the fact that Shady Vance goes on, because they need to. They need to convince you that they're right, we're wrong, right? I don't think. That's what Shady Vance is talking about. I don't think that we did anything wrong. Well, guess what? You did. You did. And what you should have done is respected the bodies of all of our service members that are buried there in that holy, sacred ground. You should have respected the rules, the law, the regulations, and you never should have done what you did. But God forbid that you ever go ahead and apologize, especially for something as disgusting and disgraceful as violating the sacred and holy ground. Another part which has to infuriate you as much as it infuriates me is the assholes in the background there that are clapping for Shady Vance. When he starts talking about how the media, how Kamala Harris, how Tim Walz, they run away from military service and so on. Let me be very clear about something. And again, it's why I hope that many of you tune in. My perspective is unique. Why? Because I sat shoulder to shoulder with this man, Von Schitzenpants, for over a decade, almost a decade and a half. And I was the one that was tasked with dealing with the media in regard to the 4 Fs. That's when Trump skirted his draft, the draft for Vietnam, because he certainly doesn't understand service to country over service to oneself. And what bothers me truly about this whole thing is that he went to a podiatrist. Imagine this shit. He went to a podiatrist in a strip mall that was owned by Daddy Fred. And they gave him a letter that said that he had bone spur in his foot. And that as a result of the bone spur, that he would not be able to jog or run or fight. It's just what it says. And so he managed to get deferments, 4 of them or 5 of them. And what he was afraid of is that this information was going to get out. And so he had me try to deal with it, despite the fact when I asked him, well, it's very simple. If you really had bone spur, which foot? That's what the media was asking me. Which foot did you have surgery? Because it certainly doesn't appear that these bone spurs are stopping him from wearing golf shoes and playing hours upon hours of golf. And he said he didn't remember which foot. Well, how could you not remember when you had a bone spur taken out? You see, I had a bone spur taken out of my left shoulder. And how do I know that I had it there? Because I got a 9-inch scar that goes from the top of my shoulder all the way to the back. What do you mean? If you had surgery, what do you think? Unlike, very similar to like the damage done to his ear, miracle ear grew back bigger and better. It grew back bigger and better than ever before. So what's the matter? You had a bone spur taken out and you didn't have surgery to do it? Would you get some sort of a soothsayer, a healer that rubbed a crystal over your foot and the bone spur disappeared? Let me be very clear about something. Donald Trump doesn't give a shit about veterans. He doesn't give a shit about women. He doesn't give a shit about even his own supporters. He doesn't give a shit about anyone or anything other than himself. Plain and simple. And he will use anything, including the 3-year anniversary of the death of service members on the extrication out of a 40-year war in Afghanistan for his own purpose. And that, my friends, is disgusting.
Just wanted to pull up the photos so people can see. I'm a visual learner as well, though. Here's Mike Pompeo and the leader of the Taliban when they negotiated the release of the 5,000 Taliban terrorists. And as Jay Bookman puts, an incredible gall. Pompeo negotiated the withdrawal deal with the Taliban. He freed 5,000 captured Taliban fighters, cut U.S. personnel to a dangerously low 2,500 personnel, and committed to the total withdrawal by May 1st, 2021, thus leaving Biden to eat the shit sandwich. Here's another photo of Pompeo with the leader of the Taliban when they were wearing masks. And this Afghanistan withdrawal fact sheet is one that I like. It says Trump, not Biden, negotiated directly with the Taliban terrorists and excluded the Afghan army. Trump, not Biden, drew down U.S. forces from 1,300 to 2,500, making them vulnerable to attack. Trump, not Biden, ordered the release of 5,000 Taliban terrorists from prison, one of whom would become the new leader of Afghanistan. Trump, not Biden, wanted to invite the Taliban leaders to Camp David on the anniversary of September 11th. Seriously, Trump, not Biden, agreed to a May 1st exit from Afghanistan, then bragged that he didn't need an exit strategy. Trump, not Biden, refused to brief Biden's incoming team on the situation in Afghanistan or on anything. Does everybody remember during the transition where Trump refused to have his staff have any communications with Biden, which was completely unprecedented, as Donald Trump falsely claimed that he won? And remember, he wouldn't even have like the administrative services lady like just sign off on even having like the pens and highlighters basically transition to the new administration, yet alone providing any data. And then Trump, not Biden, shut down every air base in Afghanistan except one, crippling the U.S.'s ability to extract its assets safely. Pay attention to the facts right there. But you know who's not paying attention?
Not the bullshit.
But you know who's doing the bullshit, Michael? And this is why, sometimes I feel when I rail on corporate media, it just sounds whiny sometimes. And I'm like, they're not doing a good job. But I think it's so important as the Midas Touch network grows because of this community that we call out the type of stuff for what it is so people know why they need to cut the cord and the damage that corporate media is doing and how we are not going back to the both sidesism of corporate media. We collectively, the Beatdown Brigaders and the Midas Mighty, we're moving forward together. So moments ago, I got this clip sent to me, Michael Cohen and Brigaders, and this is how CNN was framing Donald Trump's posts from yesterday, where before 10 a.m., he posted some of the most disgusting things in the world. Like this was an actual post from Donald Trump, a photograph of Hillary Clinton and Vice President Kamala Harris. This was Donald Trump's post, a photo of Hillary Clinton and Vice President Kamala Harris that says, funny how blowjobs impacted both of their careers differently. This is the leader of the Republican Party right now. This is who they want to give the nuclear codes to. And let me show you moments ago how CNN described that. Let's play this clip.
Some people don't know. Going pretty low, I'd say very low, in online attacks against Vice President Harris. This is the trolling wars between the two campaigns have been escalating for several weeks. One of Trump's former top advisors joins me on that next.
Here are the trolling wars between the campaign. One of Trump's advisors joins me next. The trolling wars? You have Donald Trump saying, put that post up again right there if we can. You have Donald Trump saying, funny how blowjobs impacted both their careers differently. What other post did Donald Trump make as well? How about he did this post calling the January 6th committee to be indicted, indict the unselect January 6th committee for sedition. If you want to lock them up, repost. Or how about this post right here where he has Kamala Harris and President Biden and Bill Gates and Nancy Pelosi in orange jumpsuits? How about this post right here where he says all roads lead to Obama? Retruth if you want public military tribunals, calling for public military tribunals of Barack Obama. How about this one right here? And just take a look at his left hand, camera right, but his left hand. You see he has the Q plus on his hand. He's making reposts of QAnon, saying the world will soon understand nothing can stop what is coming. And the QAnon belief of what is coming, the storm is coming, or WWG1WGA, where we go one, we go all, is that Donald Trump will do public executions on Capitol Hill. And that's what QAnon believes. And that's when he reposts these QAnon accounts. And then he has the Q plus on his hand. So no CNN. This is not troll wars. This is not, oh, Vice President Kamala Harris is going low and Donald Trump is going low. This is absolutely repugnant, and I just want to call them out right there. I mean, you saw we did the story about, you know, when they did the undecided panel, but then had the Trump supporter. I don't even want to talk about that. But this is the crap that they do because they don't give a shit, excuse my language, about our lives. They don't care if you die. CNN doesn't care if you die. They care about their paychecks. They care about, it's a game to them. This ain't a game to us. Michael Cohen was in solitary confinement for almost 60 days. This is not a joke. This is not a game. These are real people's lives. Sorry.
You know, look, very soon, Ben, as you all know, is going to be a daddy. I can tell you, I'm a girl dad. I'm a son dad too, but I'm a girl dad as well. And when I hear somebody like a Donald Trump talking about Kamala Harris, talking about Hillary Clinton, two women, and making the claim that the only way that these two brilliant women made it to the top, which is where they both are, is by performing fellatio. It is, to me, the single most disgusting thing that you could possibly say. It undermines the fact that they worked hard their whole lives, that they studied hard, they did great things. Hillary Clinton is, what was she, Yale Law or Harvard Law School? And the same thing with Kamala Harris, prosecutor, senator, vice president. Seriously, Donald, did either of their daddies give them 5, 6, 100 million, whatever the $1 billion that he ended up giving you because Fred Trump was a greater success than you? A greater success by a multitude? So the only way that they succeeded was by performing sex acts for people? It is, yes, it is so fucking disgusting. It is so demeaning. But it's not just demeaning. It's not just demeaning to Hillary Clinton and Kamala Harris. It is demeaning to every single woman in this country, to every single woman in the world who has succeeded because of their brains, because of their abilities, because of their competence. So different than Donald Trump, who is a fucking incompetent fool, who by his own sister's admission is one of the dumbest human beings that she has ever met. His own sister called me when he ended up running in 2015 saying, you need to get my brother to stop this. He is a dumb shit, and he is going to embarrass our family name for years and generations to come. This is their family. And when you disrespect one, you disrespect all. Neither of these women, neither of these accomplished women ended up succeeding because of the allegations that he and Shady Vance and so many other sycophantic assholes are making and claiming about them. It is disgusting how any single woman, any woman could possibly vote for either of these two motherfuckers is beyond me. How any man who cares about a woman could vote for these two motherfuckers. You're on mute, pal.
Here's what JD Vance just posted moments ago. He says, breaking, I have gotten a hold of the full Kamala Harris CNN interview. And it's that interview from, like, was it 15 years ago with Miss South Carolina? I don't know if we have that photograph. I mean, it's just a sexist, misogynistic post right there. I'm going to show it to you when we get back from our first quick break. I want to remind everybody, patreon.com/political beatdown, patreon.com/political beatdown. Check that out, and store.MeidasTouch.com as well. Get your pro-democracy gear, and we even got the exhibit that was used at Michael Cohen's criminal trial during the cross-examine, the Mar-a-Lardo Correctional Facility shirts itself. We've got that. Which exhibit was it? Exhibit 200 and something? Anyway.
Something like that.
Store.MeidasTouch.com. We'll be back. We're taking only one quick break today. We'll be right back.
It's hot outside, and your nighttime bedroom temperature has a huge impact on your sleep quality. If you wake up too hot or too cold, I highly recommend that you check out Miracle Made's bed sheets. Miracle Made sheets are inspired by NASA, and they use silver-infused fabrics that are temperature regulating so that you can sleep at the perfect temperature all night long. Miracle sheets are luxuriously comfortable without the high price tag of other luxury brands. And you know what? They feel as nice, if not nicer, than sheets used by some five-star hotels. Using silver-infused fabrics inspired by NASA, Miracle Made sheets are thermoregulating and designed to keep you at the perfect temperature, again, all night long, no matter the weather, so that you get better sleep every single night. Stop sleeping on bacteria. Bacteria can clog your pores, causing breakouts and acne. I mean, sleep clean with Miracle. These sheets are infused with silver that prevent up to 99.7%. Get a look, 99.7% of bacterial growth, leaving them to stay cleaner and fresh 3 times longer than other sheets. So there's no more gross odors too. Go to trymiracle.com/beat to try Miracle Made sheets today. And whether you're buying them for yourself or as a gift for a loved one, if you order today, you can save over 40%. And if you use our promo code BEAT, B-E-A-T, at checkout, you'll get 3 free towels and save, get a load of this, an extra 20%. Miracle is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you aren't 100% satisfied, you'll get a full refund. Now upgrade your sleep with Miracle Made. And go to trymiracle.com/beat and use the code BEAT to claim your free 3-piece towel set and save over 40%. Again, that's trymiracle.com/beat to treat yourself. And thank you, Miracle Made, for sponsoring this episode.
We are back. Cohen, I know you love those Miracle Made sheets. The discount code is in the description below. Support our sponsors. It helps support the show. And that patreon.com/political beatdown helps support the show as well. So, Cohen, you told the story before the break, but tell us about it. You know, which sister of Donald Trump's reached out to you? It's an interesting story that I don't think a lot of people, you know, if they've read your books, they may have heard it, but Tell us about it in a little bit more detail. When did it take? How long into the campaign did it take place, and how did you respond?
It was right after the very start of the campaign, after Trump came down the golden escalator and made the disparaging comments about Mexicans. You may recall he turned around and he said that Mexicans are rapists and drug dealers and murderers, but there are some that are good people. Within a few days thereafter, Judge Marion Barry, one of the nicest, kindest, brightest people that I've met when I was there at the Trump Organization. I was very close with her. We used to speak on a regular basis. I would bump into her regularly, and she was a very, very good person, bright as can be. And she called me up and she goes, "You need to get my brother out of this thing." And I said, Judge Barry, I don't think he's stepping aside. He wants to go for it. He's an idiot. He's a dumb idiot. He's going to embarrass our entire family. He's going to ruin our family name for eternity, for generations on generations. Michael, you need to get him. So I said, Judge, I got to be honest with you. He's petrified of you. You should call him and tell him. I said, you're about the only one that could actually stop him from doing this, because he's committed to this. He's not going anywhere. And she said she was going to speak to him. And you know what? She did, but he turned around and he said, no, it's they're mistaking, because it's the same shit that he does now. That's not what I said. It's the media who doesn't want me in this race, blah, 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 and all that stuff. That's what it was with Judge Barry, who is a federal court judge based out of New Jersey. Just a wonderful, wonderful person.
So tell us about, you said that Trump was scared of her. Give us more information there.
Well, she was very much a powerful woman. And, being an older sister and a judge and exceptionally, exceptionally bright, which Donald is not, he feared her. And he always, not only did he fear her, he always sought her approval. Of all of his siblings, he always sought his sister, Judge Barry's, approval for various different things. She's the one person that when she called, he didn't roll his eyes and wonder. I remember when Tiffany would call and all of a sudden you'd hear Rona screaming in the background, Mr. Trump, Tiffany's on line 2. And he'd be like, oh God, what? They pick up, hey, sweetheart, what's up? I'm busy. And it's just, look, there's so few words that one can say that I haven't already said. The guy is a piece of shit. How is he still even in a race? How is it that all of these disgusting, racist, sexist, misogynistic, xenophobic, homophobic, Islamophobic, transphobic, anti-Semitic rants that he goes on, he and Shady Vance, how is it not already precluded him from being the nominee on behalf of the Republican Party? One of our 2 political parties, our only 2. Don't tell me about the independent party. It's not even, it's not a real party. They're not really in the race except in a couple of locations. One of our 2 major political parties, the candidate, the representative of that party, is a fascist, an autocratic wannabe, and a complete and total fucking disgrace of a human being. A complete. He is a total disgrace. He's a woman hater. He is an immigrant hater, despite the fact that 2 of his wives are foreigners, are immigrants. He's a narcissistic sociopath. He's an anti-Semite. He is a racist. And yet, despite the fact that Kamala Harris is pulling ahead. The momentum is all on the Harris wall side, and it is diminishing on a daily basis. There you go, with the Trump Vance ticket. It's amazing to me. You look at Arizona, 1 point different. Go back for 1 second. 1 point different. Georgia, 2 point. Nevada, 2 point. North Carolina, right? -1, right? I mean, how? And it's all within the plus or minus 3 margin of error. How? Are there really that many Americans that are this stupid, that ascribe to these racist and these horrific traits that Donald Trump and Shady Vance demonstrate on a daily basis? What about, for God's sakes, the veterans? How is it that I constantly see people there on, whether it's X or Threads or, anywhere on my TikTok show or on my YouTube channel, the Michael Cohen Show, commenting, and you look at their profile and it says, and I don't know if it's true, but it says that they're veterans, How could any veteran support somebody who is as anti-veteran, anti-American, anti-Constitution as Donald Trump and Shady Vance? I don't get it. I just don't get it. They are now, look at what Aaron Rupar wrote. The Trump campaign is now publicly denigrating the U.S. military, and they are. My question to you is why? Why would you denigrate the military? Why? What benefit could it possibly be? I don't know. But for whatever the reason is, there are still veterans, and quite a few of them, that is supporting this asshole. I don't get it. I'm frustrated. I'm disappointed. I'm angered.
Yeah, that's why we have to work harder. And, you said earlier in the show something. You said, if the Midas Touch Network keeps on growing the way we are, it's going to change the outcome of the election. Maybe not. What I care about changing, though, are the outcomes of how people gather information accurately and factually, even over any specific election, because I think if you lead with the values and principles over a specific individual, one of the issues is when we focus on people, that allows the corporate media to both sides the issues. This cult of personality, that type of cult of personality, and it becomes the Dodgers versus the Orioles. I was at that game. It's the
Yankees versus Red Sox.
Yankees versus the Red Sox, or whatever it is, and it becomes. But that's not what politics should be about. And what the Midas Touch Network is actually about is not any specific person. It's the values and principles. Now, Donald Trump is the exact opposite of our values and principles here. Vice President Kamala Harris aligns with our values and principles. But if Vice President Kamala Harris started making QAnon posts and she started behaving the way he did, which she would never do, then the fact that she's a Democrat wouldn't matter to me one way or the other. It is the values and principles. And that's the most important thing that I think's out there. And what Trump's been able to do is he's been able to latch. He's the biggest con artist perhaps in the world history. That's his evil skill that he has, maybe ever. And what he's able to do is latch on to symbols, and I saw this firsthand when I represented Colin Kaepernick, right? The way he would you're disrespecting the flag. We, the people, love the flag. We love our Constitution. And so he can latch on to these wedge issues, divide Americans against each other, have people focus on hate versus love, rip us apart, and then know that our failed corporate media will report the things as here's what he said, here's what she said, here's what they're saying, and not say that's abhorrent, that's fascism, that's disgusting. That's what's at issue here. But I think what we're going to see as this network continues to grow and others, it's going to be a thinking more aligned with forward-looking things. So that's kind of how I view this network. But anyway, let me show you. This is a clip from Vice President Kamala Harris in the interview that she did with Dana Bash. And I want to show you just even how Dana Bash frames the question so incorrectly. She says, so you flip-flopped on all of these issues, which is the Donald Trump talking point. She goes, you've changed your mind on this issue and that issue. How are you going to approach the American people if you keep changing your mind on this issue? I'm thinking, where did she change her mind on what issue? She's the one. Vice President Kamala Harris wants to sign the bipartisan border deal. Donald Trump wants to kill it. If you actually did your job, CNN, and reported on it, you would know that it was actually a Republican from Oklahoma, Senator Langford, who led the negotiations with Biden and Harris, and Trump killed the bill so he could cause chaos on the border, and then you can report what he wants to report. So, oh, there's chaos, there's all of these issues. By the way, border crossings are down now lower than they were when Trump was in office right now because of the executive order that Biden had to take after Donald Trump killed bipartisan legislation. So let's stick with the freaking facts here, please. But here's what Dana Bash did, and you'll see how Vice President Kamala Harris answered the question. Let's play this clip.
Generally speaking, how should voters look at some of the changes that you've made, that you've explained some of here in your policy? Is it because you have more experience now and you've learned more about the information? Is it because you were running for president in a Democratic primary? And should they feel comfortable and confident that what you're saying now is going to be your policy moving forward?
Dana, I think the most important and most significant aspect of my policy perspective and decisions is my values have not changed. You mentioned the Green New Deal. I have always believed, and I have worked on it, that the climate crisis is real, that it is an urgent matter to which we should apply metrics that include holding ourselves to deadlines around time. We did that with the Inflation Reduction Act. We have set goals for the United States of America and by extension the globe around when we should meet certain standards for reduction of greenhouse gas emissions, as an example. That value has not changed. My value around what we need to do to secure our border, that value has not changed. I spent 2 terms as the Attorney General of California prosecuting transnational criminal organizations, violations of American laws regarding the illegal passage of guns, drugs, and human beings across our border. My values have not changed.
Cohen.
Yeah, let me say this. Oh, Dana Bash, fuck you. But you're not worthy of the 2-finger salute. So here's a request from me to you, our brigaders. First and foremost, it's why Ben and I do this. It's why we have as well our individual podcasts and so on, because we believe in the truth. We believe that it is essential to provide you with facts, not innuendo, but facts. And that's why I'm asking each and every one of you. We have over 10,000 people that are joining us right this second. If each and every one of you, for example, goes to my Mea Culpa podcast, subscribe. They'll make it like, it's already top 50 podcast. It'll make it top 10. So I ask you to do that. The Mea Culpa podcast with the blue background icon. I ask all 3 million subscribers to the Midas Touch Network. Tell a friend. Tell a friend to subscribe right now. Right this very second. Imagine overnight. Midas Touch Network, 6 million subscribers. Makes them bigger than CNN. Makes them bigger than CNN. Political Beatdown. Not 10,000 people on. We should have 100,000 people on. Double for example, my YouTube channel, The Michael Cohen Show. I ask each and every one of you, go there right now and subscribe. You will hear 8 to 10 minute scenarios on each of these topics on a daily basis. And why do we do it? We do it simply to provide fact, to build a bigger, a stronger, a more knowledgeable community. And if each person goes ahead and tells one person, go now and subscribe. Make it a part of your daily conversation so that when you are talking to them, you have legitimate facts. The fact that somebody like Dana Bash can turn around and ask a question like that to Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. What is she doing? What is she doing? She is trying to pop up or prop up Donald Trump and Shady Vance? Seriously? That's the best that we can do. Our goal here on the Midas Touch Network, and again, all 3 million overnight, you can help to make Midas Touch Network the biggest network that's out there. Legitimately, because then after you get the 6 million, we're going to ask the same thing. Let's make it 12. We could ultimately decide the outcome right here, and you'll be a part of it right here. We can go ahead and make this network the most important network for people to watch every single day. Every single day, whether it's our Tuesday, Thursday, or whether it's my Monday, Friday, or whether it's the Midas Touch Network or the Meiselas brothers, every day there is new information coming out to make you better equipped going forward to help to protect America's democracy. That's what we're looking to do, build a bigger, a better, a more informed community. And on behalf of everybody, Midas Touch Network, the 3 million subscribers, all of you here with us week in and week out, thank you. Because only because of us cumulatively can we make the difference. And while I would love to give Dana Bash the 2-finger salute because she fucking deserves it, nobody deserves it more than Shady Vance. With his lies and his continuing word vomit on behalf of Donald Trump, the attacks on women day in and day out, the attacks on the minority communities, on the Black community, on the transgender community, all in what? All in the name of white Christian nationalism? All in the advancement of his own career? Remember, it wasn't too long ago that Shady Vance called Trump America's Hitler. Really? So to you, Shady Vance, vice presidential nominee to Von Schitzenpants, there's only one thing that I can say to you on behalf of all of those with us today and the 3 million subscribers to this network. Fuck you. Just fuck you.
Well said, Michael Cohen. And let me leave us with, I'm a data geek. I'm a fact-based data geek. And when I'm watching corporate media and I see the split screen and they go, it's the trolling wars. And they put 2 people on a split screen who have no clue what they're talking about. And they just yell at each other. And now let's go to a commercial break. I'm like, okay, I didn't learn anything. Let me show you what the news should be doing right now as we close out the show. I got 3 charts I want to show you. One, Carl Quintanilla just posted, and this is a chart showing that people are starting new businesses at extraordinary rates. And I want to show you the number of new business applications each month. And if Jeremy, we can pull up, it's one of the 3 graphics I sent you in our chat. There are 3 charts. I want to show you that people are starting new businesses at extraordinary rates. I want to show you the Trump stock. And then I want to show you the current stock market. Do we have that, Jeremy? Yeah. Hopefully we can pull that up right now. I sent it in a message. Let's pull up okay, here's Carl Quintanilla right here. People are starting new businesses at extraordinary rates. Now I want everybody to look right there at what happened when President Biden took office. Okay? And now you can say, well, COVID, you can see you can see the dip of COVID, but overall you can see based on the Biden-Harris policies where things are right now. So when Donald Trump wants to say this is failing, that's failing, people are starting new businesses right now at record-breaking, extraordinary rates. The next chart I want to show you is Trump media stock. So here's the Trump media stock right now. And you can see right now, imagine if that was the United States economy right now, okay? Down about 60% in the past 6 months. It's trading under $20. Imagine if that was our economy right now, right there. That's what Donald Trump wants our economy to look like. And this stock is the only stock that has Donald Trump's name attached to it. So if people were so bullish on this guy, why isn't that stock right now going through the roof?
Especially when the stock market is at an all-time high.
Which is the third chart that I want to show everybody, which is the stock market right now under Biden-Harris versus the stock market under Donald Trump. Up about 50% right now from when Donald Trump left office. So I show you those three charts to just give you the data. And I always say, ask yourself where your 401k is today. Ask yourself where your toilet paper was 4 years ago under Donald Trump. But our economy is not just measured in 401ks or the stock market. It is measured, though, in things like new business growth. It is measured in things like new jobs. Have factories been able to be open? Under President Biden, there's over 45,000 infrastructure projects that have started right now because of the Infrastructure Act. And that means jobs, jobs, jobs. These are real things that help people. You want to look at Donald Trump saying no tax on tips. When Donald Trump was in office, he wanted bosses to be able to steal the tips of workers. That was one of his policies, allow the bosses to steal the tips. So look at their actions, look at what they're doing, and make informed data-based decision-making. Everybody check out Mea Culpa Blue, the Mea Culpa podcast, wherever podcasts are made available. Check it out right there and make sure you're subscribed to it. The next Mea Culpa is incredible. So please, please, please make sure you check that out. Also, store.MeidasTouch.com. Get that Mea Culpa gear and the Midas Touch gear. 100% union made, 100% made in the USA. Go to patreon.com/political beatdown as well. patreon.com/political beatdown. Check that out as well. Thank you, everybody, for watching.
Don't forget my YouTube channel.
Oh, at The Michael Cohen Show. Over 154,000 subscribers last time. 155 right now. The link for Michael Cohen's YouTube is in the description below. Make sure you check that out. And please keep refreshing the Midas Touch feed. In a little bit, I'm going to do a recap of Trump's speech. I'm going to do a recap of Kamala's speech. Her speech was in Georgia. His speech was in Michigan. We're going to do a recap of her interview with Dana Bash. All of that's going to happen here. So keep refreshing today. Thanks for helping us get over 3 million subscribers. This movement is not possible without you. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Shout out to the Brigaders and shout out to the Midas Mighty.
Boom.